الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف المرسلين نبينا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه ومن استنى بسنته إلى يوم الدين. اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا وانفعنا اللهم بما علمتنا وزدنا اللهم علما وعملا إنك ولي ذلك والقادر عليه. أما بعد، فهذا درسنا في شرح بلوغ المرام للحافظ ابن حجر رحمه الله، وغفر الله لنا وله ولسائر المسلمين. وكنا في باب شروط الصلاة من كتاب الصلاة. ووقفنا في شرط استقبال القبلة في الأحاديث المتعلقة بشرطية استقبال القبلة. So we're going to continue, inshallah, the class in the book of Bulugh Al-Maram of fiqh, and we're in the chapter of prayer, or the book of prayer, in the chapter regarding the conditions of prayer, those conditions that a person has to have for his prayer to be acceptable. And most of these conditions, they come, he has to have prepared before he even comes into the prayer. Okay, so we talked about some of those conditions last time. تكلمنا عن شرطية دخول الوقت, that a person has to, the time has to come in. وذكرنا أيضا شرطية الشرط الثاني الطهارة من الحدث الأكبر والأصغر, and we can mention that a person has to be pure from pure from any impurity, meaning in a state of tahara. Okay, from either minor impurity if he goes to the bathroom, or he has major impurity, he has to take a bath, he has to have wudu or ghusl, depending on what his condition is. The third condition is that the place and his clothing should not have anything filthy, najasa, like things that are filthy, like for example, the droppings of dog poop. If that's on the feet, on the shoes, for example, he cannot pray if he knows that it's there. And also his clothing and the place where he is. For a woman, for example, menstruating blood. If she knows that her clothing has menstruating blood on it, she cannot pray in that clothing until she washes that blood. Okay. The fourth condition we mentioned is that of the satrul awra, that a person has to be covered in his private parts, which we talked about the details, difference between young person, older person, mature person, difference between a male and a female. We talked about that last time. And so now we're talking about الشرط السادس أو الرابع الخامس الخامس استقبال القبلة. Now the fifth condition is that person has to be facing the qibla. Okay, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ordered that. قال تعالى ومن حيث خرجت فول وجهك شطر المسجد الحرام وحيث ما كنتم فولوا وجوهكم شطره. شاهد قوله فحيث ما كنتم. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ordered, he said, wherever you are in the land, then turn your faces to the direction of the Masjid al-Haram. So Masjid al-Muslimin باتفاق, قبلة المسلمين باتفاق المسجد الحرام. كان فترة إلى بيت المقدس كما ذكرنا في دروس السيرة، لكن نسخت القبلة وصرفت من بيت المقدس إلى مسجد الحرام الكعبة. We said that it used to be Bayt al-Maqdis, Jerusalem, for a time. Then after about 6 or 7 months after Hijrah, it was changed to Al-Kaaba. Okay, and the story in Surah Al-Baqarah about those is mentioned. So this is without a disagreement. فالإنسان أينما كان في الأرض يتجه جهة مكة. أما إذا كان مشاهدا للكعبة، يعني كان أمام الكعبة يشاهدها، فعليه أن يتجه إلى عين الكعبة، لا يكتفي بالجهة، لا يشاهد فيتجه إلى عين الكعبة لأنه مشاهد لها. So we said there's a difference though. There's a person, generally he faces towards the direction of the Kaaba. Okay, for us here, it's like northeast. Okay, northeast is the direction to the Kaaba, Masjid al-Haram. But if a person is in the Masjid al-Haram and he sees the Kaaba, he can't say, I'm going to face northeast. No, he has to look, face directly because he can now. He can be very precise. So the more a person is close to the Kaaba, the more precise he has to be in his facing. And the further away he is, the more it's imprecise. Okay? Because الذي لا يشاهد الكعبة لا يستطيع أن يتجه إلى عينها بل يتجه إلى جهة الكعبة. Because a person far away like us now, we don't see the Kaaba, so we just have to face the general direction. Okay, and that's the ease of Islam. Generally, the direction, as will come in the Hadith, is very easy and without any difficulty to begin the prayer facing the Qibla. Okay. لكن كيف تعرف القبلة لمن هو بعيد? How does a person know the jiha, the direction of the Qibla? Okay, in the past they used to use Sayr al-Shams wal-Qamar wal-Nujum. In the past they used to see the sun, the traveling, determine which side is it rises in the east, sets in the west, and the moon likewise, and the stars. They had that knowledge, and people still have some of that knowledge, and they can do any time in the night. They can look up in the stars and see which direction this one is, and this one is. This tells that this is what direction is east or west. لكن في وقتنا الحاضر عندنا أجهزة في عصرنا. We have now devices, we have compasses and things we can use. We have, even in the phone, we have an app you can just download and put it down on a flat surface, and it gives you the direction, which is northeast. So that's fine. لكن لو فرض أن الإنسان لا يعرف الاستدلال بالنجوم ولا عنده آلة جهاز ولا عنده من يسأله فماذا يفعل? What if a person doesn't know how to follow the sun and the moons, and he doesn't have a compass, and there's no one around him who has a compass, can tell him? What does he do? يجتهد ويتحرى. Then he just tries his best, okay? Guesses the best he can. ويصلي على حاله وهو معذور. Then he prays whatever he can guess is the right direction. ثم يعني يتبين أنه مخطئ. جاءه واحد وقال له أنت صليت إلى غير الجهة غير القبلة، فهل عليه إعادة؟ ليس عليه إعادة، لأنه فعل ما يستطيع ولا يكلف الله نفسا إلا وسعها. وقال تعالى واتقوا الله ما استطعت. فعمل باستطاعته فهو لا يؤاخذ إن أخطأ في ذلك. So they say, in this case, and for example, he prayed wrong. He guessed and he guessed wrong. And someone tells him, no, you guessed wrong, or he found out. He got a compass later and showed he just prayed Dhuhr on his guess was wrong. Does he have to make up that Dhuhr prayer? No, he doesn't. Okay? Because he did what he was able to do, okay, at that time. And Allah said He does not take us to burden for more than we are able, okay? A person is not taken to account for more than he's able, and he has to do as much as he's able, and that's all he was able to do. So he's fine. أما نعم فهو معذور إذا تحرى واجتهد بشرط أن لا يكون مفرطا. ومن هو المفرط? But he takes a guess as long as he's not lazy about it. Okay? For example, a person who نزل ضيفا عند إنسان فجاء وقت الصلاة ولم يسأل الضيف وصلى على حاله، لا عنده جهاز لا عنده معرفة، فصلى بدون سؤال، ثم تبين أنه أخطأ، فعليه إعادة تلك الصلاة. So a person should, if he's excused as long as he's not lazy about it. So, for example, a person goes to someone else's house, and he doesn't know the qibla in this house. Okay, he doesn't know how to find out, and he doesn't fails to ask the man of the house. And he just prays as he is, and then he prayed wrong. Then he has to make up that prayer. He has to do it again. Okay, because he was lazy about it. Okay, now there are some exceptions to having to face the qibla. This is generally هذا هو الأصل. The origin is a person, anyone who prays has to face the qibla. But there are some exceptions. Okay, يستثنى ممن يجب عليه استقبال القبلة ثلاثة. There's three people who are excused. الأول العاجز الذي ما يستطيع مريض ما يستطيع أن يقوم أو يتجه ولو كان جالسا اتجاه القبلة وليس عنده من يوجهه فصلى على حاله وهو معذور. Person sick. The first one, sick person. He's bedridden. Okay, he cannot turn. He cannot do anything to face the qibla. So he's excused, and he doesn't have anyone with him who can turn him. Okay, if there's someone, he can wait for them, and within the time of the prayer, maybe at the end of the prayer, he's waiting for someone to come. He can turn him his wheelchair or what not. Then he can wait, and then someone can turn him. If there's no one coming, he prays as he is. Okay, and he's done what he is capable. والنوع الثاني الخائف على نفسه من عدو أو خطورة مثل السيل أو نار. The second, a person who's afraid. Second person is excused. He's afraid from an enemy. إنسان يهرب من عدو والجهة المخالف للعدو هو منحرف عن القبلة. يعني الجهة المخوفة يعني قد تكون يعني في جهة القبلة فهو مستدبر القبلة فيصلي على حاله وما يضره ذلك لقول الله تعالى فإن خفتم فرجالا أو ركبانا أي أنت تصلي على ماشيا ولو إلى غير جهة القبلة إن خفتم أو ركبانا تركب يعني راحلة وتصلي على حالك أي جهة كان. So the second one, Allah said, when you're afraid, then pray either walking or running or riding. Afraid meaning afraid of an enemy. Okay, you're in battle, for example, or there's something, a flood is coming, and you have to run away. You could be running in any direction opposite of the harm. Okay, and that the direction of the harm could happen to be for us northeast. Okay, it's coming. The enemy is coming from northeast. We have to run the other way. So when we run the other way, we're not facing the qibla. But time of prayer comes, we pray, no matter what direction we're in, because we're excused. Okay. والثالث المتنفل في السفر يصلي يعني لو كان على راحلة إلى الجهة التي يعني تتجه الراحلة ولا يؤاخذ عليه. The third one is the one who praying nafil when he's traveling on a riding car or camel. Three things: he's praying nafil, and he's traveling, and he's riding. Then he's excused to pray in any direction that the car is headed or the animal is headed. So he's excused to pray other than the direction of the qibla because he is the third condition, traveler, mutanaffil, praying nafil. So these are the three excused, where a person doesn't have to worry about the qibla because he is excused. So this hadith, the next hadith, which is in this chapter, discussing this, is hadith al-mi'a wal-ithnan an Amir ibn Rabi'a رضي الله عنه أنه قال كنا مع النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم في ليلة مظلمة فأشكلت علينا القبلة فصلينا فلما طلعت الشمس إذا نحن صلينا إلى غير القبلة فنزلت فأينما تولوا فثم وجه الله في الآية ولله المشرق والمغرب فأينما تولوا فثم وجه الله. So this hadith is greatest sound, Hassan by Sheikh Al-Albani, hadith Amir ibn Rabi'a. He said that we were with the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, meaning traveling with him, and the night was very dark in clouds, and we couldn't see the stars. So we had difficulty discerning which way is the Qibla. So we prayed. We guessed and we prayed. With us was the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And then when the sun came up the next day, then we realized which way was correct, and we realized that we prayed wrong the night before. We prayed the wrong direction. Then Allah revealed the ayah, and to Allah belongs the east and the west. So wherever you turn, then there is the face of Allah. فَثَمَّ يعني هُنَاكَ وَجْهُ اللَّهِ. There is the face of Allah. Means that the prayer is acceptable. Okay? Why? Because they prayed out of mistake, right? They didn't purposely pray wrong, but they couldn't. They tried their best because of the cloud cover. They couldn't tell. So they're not. There's no problem. They're excused. فمن فوائد هذا الحديث أولا الشيخ ابن عثيمين said one from the benefits of this hadith in general أن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم لا يعلم الغيب لأنه لو كان يعلم الغيب لعلم ما خلف هذا الغيم أن اطلع إلى النجوم لكنه لا يعلم الغيب ولا يعلم خلف هذه الغيوم. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, number one, he doesn't know the unseen. If he knew the unseen, he would know the Qibla naturally, if he knew the unseen. But the unseen is behind the clouds. Assalamu rahmatullah. Behind the clouds is the limit of a person's vision. A human being, so he was a human being. لا يعلم الغيب. أمر الثاني أنه من اجتهد وتحرى ولم يصب القبلة فليس عليه إعادة. And the person who tries, we mentioned, to guess the Qibla, uses whatever means he's available, and he doesn't get it right, then he does not have to make up the prayer. Okay, we talked about that. أيضا أن الله تعالى واسع عليم محيط بكل شيء. Also, the Shaykh mentioned, we understand that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is expansive, is all-encompassing. Okay, Allah is encompassing of all the creation. وذلك لقوله تعالى فأينما تولوا فثم وجه الله. Because Allah said in the ayah that was mentioned in this hadith, wherever you turn, then there's the face of Allah. Okay, there's Allah, there's His face. Okay. فقد يسأل سائل فهل الله عز وجل في المكان أي هل هو محدود في هذه الجهة؟ نقول لا، كلا، بل هو في العلو، هو في السماء، فوق السماء. وإن كان في الجهة التي اتجهت إليها ولكن ما زال فوق كل شيء. فالمواجهة لا تنافي العلو. We say it doesn't mean that Allah is in a direction, we say wherever you turn, then Allah is there. Doesn't mean that you can say that Allah is excluded or confined in one place. No, we say Allah, فوق كل شيء. Allah said He is above everything. Okay, and a person, there's no contradiction that something can be above and still be in a direction. Okay, it's still above. So although you can say it's a direction wherever you turn, because we're supposed to face the Qibla, we know Allah is in that direction, but that doesn't mean that He's not above. مثال ذلك الشمس أين تكون؟ عندما تغرب الشمس في المغرب. فلو نظرت إلى الشمس فهي في المغرب لكنها مع ذلك في العلو أعلى منا. So, for example, the sun, when it's setting, it's in the east. We see it in the west. We see it in the west. Does that mean that it is not above us? It is still above us. Okay, And وَلِلَّهِ الْمَثَلُ الْأَعْلَى, and to Allah is the best example. So if this is في المخلوق فَلِلَّهِ الْمَثَلُ الْأَعْلَى. If this is for a created thing, the sun, it can be, we can see it in a direction, but it's also above at the same time, then Allah, of course, He is the best example, and He has more right to the kamal, to the perfection. He has more right to the perfection. Okay. الحديث التالي, next hadith, يعني قريبا من هذا الحديث، هو حديث أبي هريرة رضي الله عنه قال قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم ما بين المشرق والمغرب قبلة، رواه الترمذي وصححه الألباني في الإرواء. Next hadith, Abu Hurairah رضي الله عنه said, the Messenger of Allah صلى الله عليه وسلم said, that which is between the east and the west is قبلة. يعني لأهل المدينة، لمن هو من سكان المدينة. ما هي قبلة سكان المدينة؟ إلى جهة الجنوب، ولأنهم في الشمال، فكل ما بين المشرق والمغرب يكون إلى جهة الجنوب. وكذلك لأهل اليمن، هم في الجنوب فقبلتهم الشمال، فكل ما بين المشرق والمغرب قبلة في حقهم، وكل من يسكن بين ذلك. So this hadith, the Prophet ﷺ said, that which is between the east and the west, meaning anywhere you face, between the east and the west, this is your qibla. This is, he was addressing here the people of Al-Medina, okay, because they're facing the qibla, Mecca is south from them. So anywhere between the east and the west, okay, is qibla, because you're still facing generally south, okay. So they're in Medina, they're facing Mecca, but if they face all the way to the east, no, that can't be, okay. Then you're going to be facing towards, Persia, or to China, and that India and so on. That's to the east. If they're facing to the west, they're facing, towards Africa and so on. No, you can't face either west or east, but anywhere in between is considered south, is generally south, okay. فهذا يدل على عدم يعني الدقة في القبلة، ويعني أن هناك مسامحة، ولا يضر الانحراف اليسير عن القبلة. الانحراف اليسير لا يضر الإنسان، ولو أن مسجدا بني يعني عموما إلى جهة القبلة، ولكن ليس يعني تماما إلى جهة القبلة، فلا يلزم هدم هذا المسجد، فيبقى على حاله، فالله سبحانه وتعالى يعني لا يؤاخذ على ذلك. So this means that a person does not have to be too precise, okay? If he doesn't have a compass, for example, or he's in a masjid that is a little bit off, okay? So for example, he's in a masjid in Al-Madinah, and it's not exactly south. The qibla of the building is not facing exactly south, but it's a little bit off, a little bit southeast or southwest. It's no problem, as long as it's not facing exactly east, exactly west, or exactly north. Okay, it has to be generally south. And likewise here, our qibla is northeast. We can be generally northeast. Okay, a little bit off, a little bit more north, or a little bit more east, a little bit here or there doesn't have a problem. Okay, that's the point. Okay, next hadith الأربعة بعد 200 عن عامر ابن ربيعة رضي الله عنه قال رأيت رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم يصلي على راحلته حيث توجهت به، متفق عليه. وزاد البخاري يومئ برأسه ولم يكن يصنعه في المكتوبة. Next hadith is about one of the things we mentioned, the one who's excused from exactly facing the qibla. One of those is mentioned in this hadith. The Amir said that he saw the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam praying, meaning on a travel, on a journey, praying on his animal. Could be a donkey, could be a camel. praying on the animal, sitting, traveling, and he was facing other than the Qibla. Okay, and he's praying, but it's a nafil prayer. Okay, it's not farida. Okay, and when how is he going to make ruku and sujood? In the narration of Bukhari said he used to uh, bend his head down. Okay, signal with his head for the ruku, and more down for the ruku for the sujood. Sujood has to be further down, as other narrations say, than the ruku. But otherwise, the qiyam or the qira'ah would be jalisan, sitting. So this hadith shows that exception, the excuse for this person traveling. But he would not pray the farida. No, the hadith is clear. Because generally you can say هناك مساواة بين النافلة والفريضة إلا ما دل عليه دليل إلا ما يستثنيه الدليل. So generally there's no difference between fard and nafil. Okay, if there's a hadith that says pray fard, the Prophet ﷺ prayed fard like this, then you can understand he prayed nafil the same way. Okay, he made ruku', he said Subhana Rabbil Azim in ruku'. We understand he does the same in nafil. Okay, except there's a proof that says that there's a distinguishment. In this hadith, there's distinguishment. He differed. He defined the farida. No, he didn't pray like this. He always, even if he's traveling, he would, if able, get off the animal, and he would pray facing the qibla, on the earth facing the qibla. So this is what's meant by this hadith. ويستفاد من هذا الحديث أن فعل الرسول صلى الله عليه وسلم مخصص للدليل القولي. This general principle that there's a قاعدة أن الدليل الفعلي مخصص الدليل القولي. There's a general principle the Shaykh Ibn Uthaymeen is saying that the action specifies the statement. Okay, what's the statement? The statement, proof of statement is من حيث خرجت فولي وجهك شطر المسجد الحرام. هذا عام، لكن هذا العام مخصص بفعل النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم في النافلة على راحلته في السفر. So what is the statement? That's general. There's a general statement, but excluded from that is what the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam did by action. The general statement, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, and wherever you go from, wherever you are, then face the qibla in prayer. That's general. Excluded from that is this hadith, this action. The action of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that when he was traveling on an animal, praying nafil, he did not face the qibla. Meaning when he was not able to, he didn't do it on purpose, because it said, يعني يصلي حيث توجهت الراحلة به يمشي مع الراحلة إلى مقصوده في هذه الجهة. So he said, because the animal is going to be facing in journey the destination, okay, or turning here and there, the animals can turn on their own. Even if he wanted to face the qibla, the animal won't let him constantly. And you're facing this direction, like you're in a car, you're on a highway. Let's be practical, we're riding cars. If you're going towards the west, going towards Chicago, you're going to be going west, okay? And you can't just in the middle of the travel, in the middle of the highway, turn around and say, I want to pray towards east or northeast. It's not practical. So this is in the nafil. You can continue to pray nafil on the whole car ride, as much as you want, and you don't have to worry about it. Okay, that's the ease. So this is the one benefit. وهذا يدل على التيسير على المكلف في فضائل الأعمال. This shows the ease of the religion when it comes to extra actions. أما المكتوبة فهناك نوع التزام، نوع يعني عزيمة في الفريضة غير موجودة في الرخصة. This is the فرائض. A person has to be very careful. Okay, there's rukhsa for the nafil, but it's not rukhsa for the farida. Farida, he has to pray, as you said, facing the qibla at all times, even traveling. Except, we say, except if he is there's some difficulty. Okay, لأن المشقة تجلب التيسير. هذه قاعدة. Except if there's some difficulty, even in فريضة, there may be some difficulty. هو يعني على راحلة فجاء وقت الفريضة وتنزل المطر فلا يستطيع أن ينزل ويصلي في مكان خارج، فيصلي في حاله ولو راكبا ولو إلى غير اتجاه القبلة، لأنه يعني معذور مضطر إلى ذلك. A person, for example, is not able to come down off his riding car or whatever because it's raining outside. He cannot stop. There's no shelter. He can't pray in the rain under severe conditions. So he can pray as he is, even in the car, even riding, even if he has to face other than the Qibla, okay? Because he can do nothing else. He's excused. فإذا قال قائل ما الحكمة في هذه الرخصة؟ قلنا الحكمة في هذا تنشيط الإنسان على التطوع، يعني حتى يعني لا يعني يعني يترك الإنسان النافلة لعدم الاستطاعة على استقبال القبلة في هذه الحال، يعني في ركوب في السفر. So the reason, the wisdom, someone may say, what's the wisdom that behind this permission to pray the nafil riding to other than the qibla? It is for a person to be encouraged to pray a lot of nafil, okay? Because in the journey he shouldn't say, oh, I cannot pray while I'm traveling, so I won't pray. No, there's an opportunity to continue to pray while riding, okay? And continue this connection with his prayer in nafil. فإذا النفل مشروع أيضا في السفر. يستفاد من هذا أن النفل تصلى في السفر إلا ما يستثنى. This hadith also shows that we are to pray nafil in the prayer. Okay? إلا, except that which is excluded. وهي رواتب. راتبة الظهر والمغرب والعشاء. أما سنتي الفجر والوتر فكان النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم يصليها في السفر. والنفل المطلق كان بلا شك يصليها النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم بدلالة هذا الحديث. So this shows also that all the nafil can be prayed while traveling, except that which is excluded. What is excluded? The sunnah of dhuhr, sunnah of maghrib, and sunnah of isha. That's the only ones we don't pray. Okay? Everything else we pray. We can pray the sunnah of fajr. We should pray sunnah of fajr. We should pray the witr, even though we're traveling, and all kinds of nafil. Salatul layl, we should pray. We can pray. Salat duha, we can pray. Salatul istikhara, any other nafil we can pray, even though we're traveling. That's just generally. طيب الحديث التالي حديث الخامس بعد 200 لأبي داود من حديث أنس رضي الله عنه. كان يعني النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم إذا سافر فأراد أن يتطوع استقبل بنافلته القبلة فكبر ثم صلى حيث كان وجه ركابه. هذا الحديث حسنه الألباني. Next hadith is a little more detailed, a little addition to the previous hadith. The condition where the Prophet ﷺ, when he was traveling and he wanted to pray nafil, tatawwa, he would face the qibla, face the animal first towards the qibla, okay? And then say takbiratul ihram, Allahu Akbar, can enter the prayer facing the qibla, sitting on the animal, and then he would let the animal take its course and turn away from the qibla for the rest of the prayer. So here's a little addition. So this is the most complete way, the scholars say, that a person, when he starts his journey and he wants to pray nafil in the beginning of his nafil, he should be facing the qibla, like in a car. He could turn towards the qibla if he's parked, okay? Start the prayer and then continue on the direction of the car, even facing other than the qibla. Of course, when a person is driving a car, this is another issue. Okay, we're not talking about driver necessarily, because the driver he has to be very busy with certain traffic and other things and turning and signals and so on. This was going to distract him from a prayer. It's not like an animal which takes care of itself. Okay, so we're not talking about the driver. We're talking about praying nafil. We're talking about a passenger, a passenger. But anyways, in the beginning of the prayer, he can, if possible, turns for the qibla and then completes the prayer other than the qibla. لكن هذا الراجح أنه على سبيل الاستحباب، يعني فعل النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم ليس مخصصا لعموم الجواز، يعني إلى الصلاة إلى غير القبلة، يعني بل يدل على الاستحباب أن يبتدئ الصلاة متجه القبلة ثم يكملها إلى غير القبلة. So this hadith, the scholars say, is just recommendation. It doesn't mean you have to, begin the prayer at the other towards the qibla and then so on, but you can. It's recommended if you can. A lot of times it's not possible in a car, obviously, to stop in the middle of the highway. If you want to pray nafil, stop in the middle of the highway and face the qibla and so on. It's not possible. So this is just a recommendation. ونأخذ إن شاء الله الشرط السادس. We mentioned most of the conditions. We'll mention from another text of the Shaykh the sixth condition, which is the niyyah. Okay, we mentioned 5 conditions so far. Again, there were that a person دخول الوقت, okay, الطهارة من الحدث, والطهارة من النجاسة, وستر الأورى, واستقبال القبلة, والنية. هنا الشرط السادس النية. So this is the 6th condition we'll mention quickly, inshallah, which is the intention. واشتراط النية إنما يذكر من أجل التعيين أو التخصيص. We mention this because it's to specify which prayer you're doing. The condition of the prayer, meaning you cannot pray with, for example, a nafil prayer, okay, or a fard prayer with the intention of nafil. Okay, it doesn't count. These conditions have to be there, otherwise the prayer it's not acceptable. So a person cannot say, I'm coming to pray Fajr, and then his intention in his mind, in his heart, his intention for Sunnah. That would not count as Fard prayer, it would only count as Sunnah prayer. If he comes to pray Maghrib and his intention is Asr in his heart, it won't count. يعني لابد أن ينوي الصلاة الحاضرة. والنية لا شك أن محلها القلب ولا يجوز التلفظ بها. And no doubt that when we talk about niyyah, we're talking about what's in the heart. It's not something we have to say. But amr badihi, it comes naturally. Amr tabi'i, person when he comes to to stands up to pray, it's understood that he's praying this prayer, meaning he doesn't have to say it. It's a matter in his heart. And to say it is bid'ah, to mention it. ثم هناك مسألة، هل يجوز للإنسان أن ينتقل في نيته من نفل إلى فرض، يعني في أثناء الصلاة? There comes also an issue connected to niyyah. Is a person allowed to change his niyyah in the middle of the prayer? Meaning he's praying, for example, Sunnah Fajr, okay? And then he realizes that he doesn't have time, okay? Or for example, he for some reason he wants to change his intention. In the middle of the prayer, he just prayed 1 rak'ah, Sunnah. Can he change the second rak'ah to Farida and complete the prayer and count as Fard? No, he can't. Okay, he can't do that because لابد أن يعني يصلي الفرض كاملا من أول الصلاة إلى آخرها. He has to have intention of the fard from the beginning of the prayer. Okay? And from the beginning to the end. But the opposite is true. He could, for some reason, uh, start as fard and then in the middle of the prayer change to nafil. Okay? For some reason. He forgot he didn't pray nafil. He started the fard. He can, in the middle of the prayer, go back to nafil. Okay? ذلك سئل الشيخ الألباني في هذا فقال يجوز لأنه من أعلى إلى أدنى أما من راتبة إلى فريضة فلا يجوز. He said it's allowed to go from higher intention of farida and then change in the middle to a lower. You can go down, but you can't go up. You can't go up. You can't go up from nafil to fard, but you can go down in the middle of the prayer from fard to nafil. That's the principle. أيضا مما يدخل في باب النية نية الإمامة بعد أن كان منفردا أو الائتمام بعد أن كان منفردا. يعني انتقال النية من انفراد إلى إمامة. A person can also change his intention if he's praying individually. Initially he's alone. And then someone else joins him, he can make his intention to change to being imam, okay? Because now someone's following him. That's fine. وهذا جاء في الحديث يعني حديث ابن عباس رضي الله عنهما لما صلى خلف النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم أي دخل مع النبي وهو يصلي صلاة الليل فأقره النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم على ذلك. So the proof of this is one time the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم was praying Salatul Layl and Ibn Abbas was sleeping, and after he had begun the prayer as a munfarid individual prayer, Ibn Abbas joined him, so now he became the Imam sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and he was fine with that and he agreed. So this shows the permissibility of that. وكذلك العكس. نعم. عفوا. Then our next issue is next issue هل يصح يعني ائتمام مفترض بمتنفل. Can your person be praying imam, okay, as praying fard prayer, and the people behind him have the people following him have the intention of nafil prayer? His intention is different. هناك اختلاف في النية. The imam is praying with one intention and the followers are praying with other intention. And yes, that's allowed. And that's what Mu'adh ibn Jabal radiallahu anhu used to do. He used to pray Isha with the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam fard خلف النبي. ثم يرجع إلى قومه ويصلي إماما متنفلا وهم يصلون فرضا. This the Prophet the Mu'adh used to pray the Isha with the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, his fard with the Prophet, and then when he went back to his people, he would lead them in their Isha, but for him it's nafil. He already prayed Isha, but they're praying their fard. So there was difference of intention, and that's fine. There's no problem. And the opposite is true. أن يعني نعم مفترض the opposite is true, that a person can be praying behind Imam is praying fard, and people behind him is praying nafil. Or he's praying nafil and the people behind him praying fard. Either way. The opposite, we said, the Imam is praying fard and the people behind him praying nafil. What's that? The proof is the hadith Abi Sa'id al-Khudri and the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam ra'a rajulan yusalli wahdahu يعني الفريضة فقال ألا رجل يتصدق على هذا فيصلي معه. وهذا الحديث صحيح صححه أو عند صحيح أبي داود. This the proof for the opposite case is a man was praying alone after the jama'ah was done. He came late, and then he's praying alone fard prayer. So the Prophet ﷺ said, wouldn't anyone of you all who would finish the prayer of the fard go and make sadaqah for this man, meaning pray behind him nafil. Okay, so their prayer behind him is nafil, and the follower imam is praying fard. So both cases are fine. So this is هذا ما يتيسر من الكلام على شروط الصلاة. وهناك عدة أحاديث يعني باقية في الباب فيها تفاصيل هذه الشروط، وندخلها ونتكلم فيها في درس قادم إن كان في الأمور بقية. والله تعالى أعلى وأعلم، وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين، وآخر دعوانا أن الحمد لله رب العالمين. There's a few hadith left in the chapter that are completing this matter of the conditions, and we'll complete them inshallah next class. But this is generally the conditions that are mentioned by the scholars, and these conditions are understood from the texts, the Quran and Sunnah, and so these are conditions that are well known. But otherwise, any questions regarding these matters? Otherwise, we'll stop here and continue next time if Allah gives us life. وجزاكم الله خيرا.